then get pulled over in they
When everything is literally and figuratively getting louder, you start wondering, where does all this noise come from? Don't you notice that the people who are the loudest get the most attention, and whether it may be in school, social media, or different aspects of our lives?
People nowadays view noise as something that is normal. We are desensitized to people bragging or showing off as it is normally associated with one's boosting of his self-esteem or in short, his confidence. In reality, bragging is a sign of narcissism, which is rooted to insecurity. So why does society still focus on what is considered as noise? In the Philippines, we observe that the basketball industry and the hip hop industry are quite influential. The Philippines is the third largest market for Nike basketball shoes and is one of the two only countries with basketball as their number one sport. Hip hop culture has also been rising through both the music industry and fashion industry. Streetwear brands have been the new fashion trend in this country and could be seen almost anywhere.
James Naismith, the person who invented the game of basketball, created a sport for people to play during the winter. His main goal was to create a sport with less contact in order to counter the violence as seen in sports such as American football. Looking at it from another angle, basketball also plays a role in relevance to constructing social and cultural views regarding masculinity, sex, physical fitness, attractiveness, and goods. Companies such as Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour, to name a few, have hired big-name athletes to endorse their products and services. Based on the book King of the Court by Aram Goodsouzian, he stated that corporations monopolize the popularity of basketball players and incorporate them in the development of their company, marketing specific brands, looks, and goods. In an interview with the current New York Knicks president Phil Jackson, a former NBA player and Hall of Fame coach, he expressed the changes he has seen in basketball. He mentions how basketball as a team game has strayed away from its roots and how it is now focused more on individual talent. Evidently, corporations and companies have showcased the kind of control they have on athletes. Kia, which is the official vehicle of the NBA, showed its control over one of its endorsers, Blake Griffin, who had to jump over a Kia Optima even though he preferred to jump over a convertible. In 2013, Under Armour was non-existent in the basketball sneaker market until they signed Stephen Curry to a multi-million-dollar deal to endorse their brand. As a result, the Under Armour company gained a 40% increase in sales. After the impact of Stephen Curry signing, Under Armour was estimated to be worth $14 billion. In addition, Under Armour CEO Kevin Plank even said that he wants to build the Under Armour basketball line into a $1 billion business with Curry as its face. This implies that companies such as Under Armour are capitalizing on the fame and profitability that come with Stephen Curry's rise to stardom. Steph Curry was perceived as the underdog when he first entered the league, but now he is currently perceived as one of the most skilled players. His brag started to show from his advertisements and led to on-court gestures where he is known to taunt the other team after making baskets. Under Armour capitalized on this underdog story and added merchandise that focused on the self. On the other hand, LeBron James has done the same thing for Nike, earning a $1 billion lifetime contract. However, LeBron's narcissism has been widely discussed by many basketball fans since he's dubbed as the King and the Chosen One. Nike campaigns capitalized on this image and even incorporated the King James logo to their shoes and advertising material. The most profitable brand of Nike would be the Jordan brand line, which is now a billion-dollar brand. The sales of the Jordan brand since 2014 has risen from $2.4 billion to $4.2 billion in 2015. And this proves that Jordans have gotten increasingly popular ever since the 1980s when it started. However, the downside to this hype are the violence, riots, and to a certain extent even death as a result of the release of these Jordan sneakers. As seen in ads from Michael Jordan, it portrayed how his greatness defines the standard of basketball superiority. The Jordan campaign, Maybe It's My Fault, portrayed how Michael Jordan had set the standard for greatness and how he humbly brags that maybe it is his fault for setting the standard too high. And in the advertisement, he explicitly says that no one could ever reach the level he is in.
In the 1970s in Southern Bronx, hip-hop was a form of a brand new identity for the African American community. These eager individuals felt they needed to voice out some issues that they were against back then, such as racism and inequality. Hip hop was a way for their community to express their emotions towards the authority that oppressed them. They were able to express their movement through rapping, dancing, and writing graffiti. And the hip hop community eventually made its way to the top through the last 3 decades and has made a big impact. Nowadays, the meaning of hip hop can be further expressed and oversold through language, the art of theater, and most especially through fashion. Today, hip hop is not only a genre of music, but it has now become a lifestyle. Hip hop culture has made its mark in the fashion industry. Big names such as Marc Ecko, Tommy Hilfiger, and Ralph Lauren are some of the brands that accepted and supported the views of hip hop artists. Nowadays, the front row of fashion shows is comprised of hip hop artists such as Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce, and Jay-Z to name a few. One of the hip hop artists that is on the rise in the fashion scene is Kanye West, who has a total of 2.5 million followers on Instagram and 27.2 million followers on Twitter. Kanye West is one of the most influential rappers in the hip hop industry today, and he is included in the 100 most influential people of Time magazine. He also has received 92 awards out of 380 nominations, and among these 92, 21 are Grammy Awards. Even when it comes to his own clothing line, Kanye West is still very influential. The Yeezy 350 Boosts sold 918 pairs on eBay just within the first 48 hours after its release. Kanye first signed under Nike. However, they restricted him from his ability to dictate what he wanted for the brand. As a result, Kanye turned to Adidas, where the company agreed to his requests and supported whatever he stood for. When Kanye signed with Adidas, Adidas wasn't doing well in the sports apparel category. The United States holds 50% of the share in the athletic footwear department, and Nike was number one, as they had $8.2 billion in revenue. Then Under Armour at second, having $3 billion in revenue, leaving Adidas at number 3. Through Yeezy Boosts, Kanye shows or gives us a glimpse of what lifestyle is for him. It retails for $350 and supplies are limited, making it hard to acquire. The fact that it's hard to acquire, it adds to the person's narcissist personality because having one will gain the attention of those who cannot get their hands on it. This strategy of Adidas was successful, earning an estimated $2 billion in revenue just 2 years after having signed Kanye. Adidas chose to collaborate with the man who claims that he is God. He became influential by bridging mainstream and underground hip-hop and by showing and telling rappers that they can do whatever they want. Adidas' campaign, Impossible is Nothing, can be related to how Kanye perceives himself as God. In his album, Yeezus, there is a track that is entitled, I Am God, and this album of his sold $25 million in sales, and it even reached platinum.
So these corporations somewhat promote narcissism, or at the very least, they tolerate this narcissistic behavior. They use influential media personalities to normalize this way of thinking, and they show it through the lifestyle of these people and through their campaigns. What makes it worse is that people or the audience do not just tolerate this kind of behavior, but they believe that this is a good way to inspire people to become more confident about themselves. They also use this, the companies, as an advantage to earn money and capitalize on the insecurities of their consumers. While buying their products, it temporarily makes us feel good or temporarily diverts our minds from our insecurities. In reality, it does not necessarily solve the root of our problem. In philosophy, we learn that real happiness is not about the feeling or about feeling good, but it is about doing the right things in search for the truth. This kind of behavior also generates noise, not only through the unnecessary clutter in society, but divert our attention from our natural inclination towards the truth. Lastly, these companies, through the creation of noise, just like what we learned in the communication cycle in advertising management, it disrupts the essence of how things are really meant to be. This noise, also known as narcissism, does not only take away the essence of the things that influence us, but also disrupts us from knowing the essence of what it really means to be human beings.